one squirrel killer here. And we're going to look at a little mod called Vampirism. In this mod you can become a vampire, and it's really quite simple how you do it. There's also the ability to become a vampire hunter, but we're not going to get into that right now because that portion is incredibly unfinished as it currently stands. So there's two ways to become a vampire. First of all, something I'd like to demonstrate is out in the world you are going to find vampire hunters who, if you're just a dude, they're going to ignore you. And you're going to find vampires, which if they see you, they are not going to ignore you. Now if you kill them while fighting them, when they hit you, they might give you a debuff or a effect, whatever you want to call it, which if they don't, you can just grab the fangs that they often drop and get this sanguinary Vampiris. After a set amount of time, you will become a vampire with this. Minecraft milk bucket. So if you get this and you don't want to be a vampire, just drink a bucket of milk. Otherwise, grab the fang, use them, just right click with them in your hand, and you get sanguinary Vampiris. After a couple days, you will become, and I'm not going to wait for this, I think it's about 1 to 2 Minecraft days, you will become a level 1 vampire. At this point, where did he go? Our friendly neighborhood vampire hunter, not so cool with us. He's now a threat. There he is. He's got either a stake or a wand. I don't know what that's supposed to be. I assume a stake in his hand. And during the daytime, you will get this ugly thing around your border. Now, what happens after this point? Well, you need to feed, first of all, which the default feed button is V. So you're just going to find a villager or a cow or something, and you're just going to drink their blood. And if you drink extra blood, you get bottles of blood. Bottles of blood do not hold a set amount. This bottle has more than this bottle. You can tell because if you look right here at the neck of the bottle, you will right at the neck of this bottle here, it's lower than any of the other bottles. Also, by killing vampire hunters, you will get human hearts, which we will get into later. Now, to level up your vampirism, you're going to need to put blood into this using bottles of blood, or blood bottle, I believe is the actual name. At about 40% full, you can use that and it will level you up, give you a bit of regeneration, a bit more health, because becoming a vampire does a couple things. First of all, you move faster, you jump ever slightly higher with each level. I believe it's with each level. No, you jump higher with one of the buffs. That's it. And at level 2, as a vampire, if you go outside, you're gonna pick up weakness. You're just not going to hit as hard, and it's not really a fun thing. Then what you're gonna do at about 70% full. Also, it takes about 23 bottles of blood to get to max out your vampirism. Almost 24, I think. At level 3 vampirism. Also, that needs to be about 70% full for to go from level 2 to 3. You also get nausea when you're out in the sun. And I just hate nausea. I really do. And then starting at about level 4, we're not going to do this. You have to fill it up all the way to get the final level, and that's going to be a lot of work right now. At level 4, let's just show you what starts happening in the sun. I believe it's at level 4. Yep, you start getting hammered when you're in the sun. But that's okay, because you can craft a coffin. Also, the altar up there I was using, the altar of inspiration. You just use a coffin just like a bed, and it makes it nighttime. Easy as that. And it just, that replaces your bed, and it's a reverse bed. Now, if you want to get past this, you need to build the altar. You need to build an altar of inspiration and design it as so. Altar of inspiration built like so. Altar pillar built like so, and they need to be tipped with an altar tip. They can be 3 pillars high with a tip. And I don't know the exact range of way you can put the pillars. You'd have to test it. But I would keep them within a square, count out 4 blocks diagonally. So 1, 2, 3, and then 1 more past that. And then make a square around it and just say the pillars need to be within that space. Now, what you need to do is you need to put human hearts in here, which means you gotta kill a few vampire hunters. Shift, right click. That's going to give you resistance. And it's going to send the power out to these pillars, which these pillars have to be at least 1 tall with a thing. These all have gold blocks in them. You can also put stone bricks in them, block of iron and block of gold. Which, if you give me a moment, if you right click the block, it will take out what's in there. And if you right click with a battle block, it can go in. So, like so. Now you actually only need, in my experiments, 6 of these pillars set up like this to actually get to max vampire level. Now this will put me at level 5. Then you need this pure blood. I will talk about how you acquire that later. But you click pure blood, and this is what it will take to get to 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14, which is the max level currently. You just put them in here. You can shift click them in, and that will put them in the correct slots. If you can't figure out which slot to do it just by looking, and then you shift right click and you get there. Now once you get to vampire level 14, that's as powerful as it gets. You have the most health, you move the fastest, and at each level actually you get a skill point starting at 2. So at 1 the first skill point is automatically spent here, but you get 13 skill points as you go. You get night vision, which is toggled by default by pressing the N key. You get regeneration, which can be pulled up by pulling up this wheel here, which at the beginning only has regeneration and cancel. And by the way, this menu here is brought by pressing P and regeneration. Then you get toggle back mode, and then you split into 3 trees. You don't have enough skill points to get each. What I am going to do is I'm going to pick up this, reduce sun damage. You can get either move speed or a jump boost. You have to get oxygen here. Use this oxygen when underwater. I like to get the jump boost and blood vision. I also want freeze and teleport. This one for demonstration. And these will just say what they do. This grants invisibility, that's all it does. Very self-explanatory. Creepers avoid you. These this here vampire rage I will show you in a moment. What it does is it gives you a strength and a speed boost, and it makes your screen go right around the edges. I'll show you what that means. So first of all, let's jump on down. Took very little damage here. We're going to jump in this card, and we're going to go to something called a vampire biome. These will generate in the world. There's actually a command to find them, which if you want to know more, look that one up on the wiki. I'll just show you. Vampirism. Yeah, it's check for vampire biome, and it's going to tell you where to find one of the coordinates. I deliberately set up right outside of one. Now, what you can do is you can come in here, and what you'll find is you'll find vampires who are friendly to other vampires. So that's a good. You'll also find ghosts, which if you bite them, turn invisible on you. Which I feel like if you just hit them in general, they turn invisible, isn't it? Yeah, if you hit them, they'll turn invisible on you, making them a bit of a pain. Now, what the real reason you won't find these vampire biomes is, I believe, though because I've only seen them here, so, and nowhere else out in the wild, you can find beyond just the vampire varieties of animal, which you can create by biting a animal, and they have a chance to become a vampire sheep, a vampire cow, a vampire pig. You can find vampire barons. There's of course this cursed earth. These are very distinct biomes. I always see them from way too far away. I see some advanced vampires over here because I can see their nameplates. And oh, here's some vampire barons. They're hostile to basically everything. They have minions, and they come in levels. There's they come in levels 1 through 5, and depending on the level you kill, they drink one of those pure blood that I showed earlier. I'm seeing only level 2s, and I don't actually have the health right now to fight one. What I can show you though is some of the abilities. If we come here, and we pull up by pressing R, I didn't do that. By pressing R, I want to make sure I hit this. Freeze, and it didn't work for some reason. If you hit something you're looking at, whatever you're looking at when you use freeze gets just held in place. I don't know if it shoots a projectile or what, or if it's hit scan. I haven't been able to determine that. The other thing you can do is you can toggle bat form, and because this mod seems to have the desire to one day be a PvP mod, you can summon these bats, which if they touch another player, they'll make them blind. When you're a bat, you only have a max of 4 health points, so that's 2 hearts, but you can fly, and you can fit into 1 high spaces, meaning the space like this, which is normally too high for a player, you can fit. Smaller hitbox, you can fly, that's the advantages. There's regeneration there, and we're nearly out of blood. So we're going to turn back into a bat and drink a bit of blood. Now the last thing there is, and I need to take off my helmet to demonstrate this, is if you look, when you're a vampire, you get this. There's a command / vampirism. I always forget to do this. At 0 is the one you start with, and you get that. The big difference there is the mouth. Yeah, that's the first mouth. Then you can get 3. Wait, did I show 4? Yeah, 4, 5, and 6. It changes the eyes. You can see it kind of changes your face when you're a vampire. One of the things in this mod I don't personally like. You know what? We're gonna go with 2. I believe was the one I could tolerate. 2 was it 1? Yeah, it was 1 that looks good. It doesn't work nicely with my skin because my skin actually has an eye patch over what is my left eye, which is for you the right eye, and it's wearing a monocle on what's for you is the left side to the right eye. Not very good for my skin. For most skins, I guess it would be okay. I really wish there was an option, like an option -1, which I don't believe is an option. Yeah, that is just no change in the eyes. For those of us who don't have skins that really support that, or who just don't have an eye that works or whatever. Now, beyond this, okay, I should leave that out. So here, you can see the eyes. If you switch to skill Vampirism Disguise, it hides that, and I also no, I don't want a hunter trainer, I want a hunter. That's not what I want. Vampire hunters won't ignore you, it looks like. So they're not fooled by it. But it does help you hide from other players that you're a vampire, which is nice, I guess. I don't see the use of it myself. And that's the real problem with... Oh, I'm going to start taking sun damage. I do have I believe I take less damage from sun damage, so I'm going to take half as much. There we go, I just exploded. Fountain of Death. That, make it night. Now then, the other thing I have is my Hunter Sight, which lets me see, oh, I see red. Those will go up and we'll show you what red means. Red means prey. Whereas gray, I can find something gray I can get at. Well, that's part of the problem with Hunter Sight. You can't see just how deep that was. Nope. Gray is something you can't drink. Oh, sorry. Now let's see if I can actually turn it. That piggy didn't want to turn. Vampires are things that you can drink from that don't have any blood to offer. Often take damage, but you can make a vampire pig. Now then, moving on from the annoyance, which is the vampire sight, which it's a cool ability, but it's actually been responsible for a few deaths of mine. There's teleport. You point at your target location and you use it. And a lot of these abilities all have cooldowns. For example, also because I think if I do it now, I can get one of them. If I find a pig, the pig will run away. There we go. Piggy can't run. It's a good way to hold your victims in place. Which in PvP would be excellent for escaping enemy vampire hunters because they are super dangerous to vampires, except for they're not in this current version, but I'm sure once that's more fleshed out, it will be. Speaking about vampire hunters, here's a little hut I built to display them. So, first of all, vampire hunter, what you need to do is you need a vaccination chair made like so. You need garlic, which is found in which spawns in villages. I believe it currently spawns villages. I haven't seen it yet. Which you find it grows just like potatoes or carrot. as it is its own seed and it drops more than one. And you take a syringe and a garlic. You craft them together. You get a garlic injection. You right click with it on there. You get poisoned. Watch your health basically vanish. Like it will all but kill you. And now you are a vampire hunter, which means, and this is the important part, right click with this, immune to sanguinary vampiris. I don't know why it double applied it there, but why it does that, but whatever. This means you can't become a vampire anymore. That is currently the only function of being a vampire hunter. There is no other function. You have no way to level up and no skill tree. How? Actually, that's a lie. You cannot level up to 4, but if you cheat your way to 4, there is this system in which you put a book in here and fangs in there and a pureblood in there. You grab that, you can get hunter intel, which if I get some iron and I find a hunter terrier or something I have never seen spawn in the world before, and I give them 5 iron and the intel for my level will level me up. And then what I will get is I will get this little buff and I will have a bunch of skill points I can't use. And you can do this all the way up. And the amounts of fangs is equal to the number of human hearts you would have used as a vampire. The pure blood cost is the same. They are equal just with this. That's the only difference. Currently there is no other advantage other than vampire immunity for the vampire hunters. Now, so I would like to talk about some things I'd like to see improved with this mod. So I will say this is the mod in its current state in 1.9. I am not covering the older version of the mod. I have no intent to cover the older version of the mod. This is the 1.9 version, the most recent version as of the recording. But I'd love to cover something as a vampire here. And he just walked up and punched me because he's a dick. Now the skill tree I have issues with the skill tree. And that is we have what is basically the combat line here. Which I did not show you the vampire rage. Which this is the vampire rage. Rage. Strength 1, speed 3. I can toggle that off. I find it's really good for running at things. And then just hitting them with a sword. That's about all it's good for, to be honest. Now then. This tree is horribly unbalanced. You're basically forced to go way down this line, committing a lot of points to get teleport. Even if you don't want these. And there's only 2 points in this tree, which say I want the bite damage, so I want the rage in that. I have 8 points. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points I can fill there. And I can go down to creeper avoidance. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 there. Oh, I'm sorry. And 1, 2, 3 here. So if you are promised at level 14 to be able to get blood vision no matter what. Also, you're promised to get one of these. What you are not promised is to completion or even a single point in both of these. You are promised you're promised both of these and both of these at best. If you want to go into more than one tree. But yeah. And this tree is so short compared to this, like, or this tree is so short. And this is the offensive tree, this is the utility tree, and this is the combat tree. What I would like to see, I want freeze moved over here. Vampirism disguise. I don't even see the point of that. And I want, so that would put teleport up here with freeze over there. It would bring the tree slightly more in line. And then just, even if you don't want them all to be perfectly even, over here give them a ranged attack thing. Like a death glare ability that does a bunch of damage right here. That would round up the trees a bit more, and it would bounce things out. I'd also like to see a bunch of stuff for the vampire hunters, which, by the way, stand by the windows will actually get, the sun will get you if you're too close to a potential sunblock. Meaning, one thick walls is not enough protection. But vampire hunters, I want to see them. They don't really have much going for them, and the only thing I can see is there's this axe, which will give you Hunter +2, which I assume means they do extra damage to vampires. Some of the skills I'd like to see on them, I'd like to see them have a way to do a speed boost, and I'd like to see that, and since they're fighting the supernatural, I'd like to see them have some basic spells as well, kind of a supernatural against supernatural. Things like a heal, things like the ability to do a light bomb, which does sunlight effect on vampires. Maybe some burning against enemies, and a sanctuary type spell, a circle that just keeps vampires out of it and keeps other undead out of it. Those are the only things I really would hope to see. I'd also like to see them have because vampires have all this mobility. I'd like to see vampires hunter to maybe have a grappling hook or something, and maybe give them the option of being able to have a couple ranged options, because up close to a vampire player they are screwed unless they have a bunch of ways to resist damage. A vampire player has more health. I do believe you actually get just a passive punching bonus. Let's test that. I can't remember if I get this passive bonus. No, you don't. But I move faster, I punch harder. It's a very real possibility I'm jumping higher, that I have all of this mobility. Vampire hunters have to be able to compete against that. So they're going to need mobility, they're going to need ways to trap vampires, either to catch up to them or to escape them. They're going to need those options. And vampires, they need a panic button to get back to their coffin. If I had to pick a panic button, I would probably say give them a item that they can craft through some kind of special mechanic, which takes them back to their coffin. Have it teleport them to the last place they slept. Have it completely drain all but the smallest amount of their blood and all but 1 point of their health. And it is a sunlight panic button if they get caught out in the sun. And put it at the very end and just have it as and maybe not even give every vampire the option. Maybe make it a choice they have to take. But other than that, I really like this mod. Let me look at the developer's name. Maxineer? Maxineer? I guess I don't know how to pronounce his name. I'm probably butchering it. Makes an awesome game. He's really supportive of his mod. The moment I've had issues with this mod and testing and playing around with it in my Let's Play, I've reported the bug to him, and he has worked very well at getting the bugs fixed. I actually said to him I felt bad because I believe I reported 2 bugs like within like less than a week, and they were two. One was a bug that made it so you could not launch an instance if you had certain other mods installed, and the other was a bug that caused a crash. I'm not sure if it was a world crash or a client crash, but it was causing a crash. And it was crashing my client, and it was running a single player world. And I gave him all the crash logs needed. I was like, look, this is the issue. I even isolated the problem for him as best I could so I could help him fix up the mod. And he, as soon as I gave him the information, fixed it. So this mod is being actively supported, it's being actively updated. I really want to see this mod succeed. I really want to see where this mod is. Not today, not tomorrow, not next week, but in like a month or two when everything's fleshed out. This is going to be one of those really awesome mods that's in almost every really cool pack, I feel. You're not gonna, you might never see in things like Feed the Beast because I don't know. I just don't see this being a Feed the Beast style mod, but this would be awesome in PvP packs when it's further along and stuff like that. Like combat oriented packs, this is perfect. So yeah, this is a really cool mod. Just if you guys don't download it because you're like, look, I like what I'm seeing with the vampire, but there's not enough there. Go on to CurseForge. The link will be down below. I'll always give you guys a link. And there's a follow button there. Just sign in with your Curse account. It's the same one as the Minecraft forums and a dozen other things. Sign in and say, follow this. Keep an eye on it. It's a really cool mod made by a really cool guy. And just download it, play it, have a good time with it. That's all I ask of you. Like, anyways, I'm Squirrel Killer. I'm going to be signing out. I will be back with this mod as soon as I see a nice, good bit of content added, or even a small bit of content that's really cool. I'm going to be watching this mod real close as I will do with all of these tutorial spotlight type things. So just watch the next video when it comes out. If it comes out, who knows when it might happen. And yeah, I'll be keeping up with this. I'll be keeping up with the developer to find out what's going on. And I'll do what it takes to make sure that this mod is understandable for you guys. Because currently, the documentation for it, the developer's working on more important things. He's working on developing a mod. So far, the in-game guide, not implemented. I really hope he implements the guide. That would do a lot for the mod. But that really is my only issue with this mod, is the difficulties with documentation. To find out if certain things even existed, like to find out that if garlic spawned in the world, I had to read the source code. So yeah, documentation needs some work. Vampire hunters need some fleshing out. Vampires need to be balanced a bit with the skill tree. But other than that, great mod. I expect to see big changes as things come, as he builds it up. And I'll be following this one very closely. So bye bye. Go check out the mod. And see you all next time.